Hello, this is Dr. Panigrahi. Welcome to my biology classes for medical entrance examination. In this video, I have a talk about another type of skeletal connective tissue, that is the bone. In my last video, I have talked about the different functions of the skeletal connective tissue. Besides these basic function, the bone has also some another important function, that is the homeostatic. So such bone which also act as the homeostatic reservoir ions of calcium, magnesium, phosphorus and so on. In vertebrates, almost all endoskeleton made up of such bone, the 90% of calcium of our body actually present in the bone. So 97% of calcium present in the endoskeleton of our body, that is the bone. So bone, it is the more highly calcified, and it is hard and rigid connective tissue. So the matrix of bone, which contains the two-phase compounds, so inorganic phase and some are the organic phase. The matrix, the inorganic phase of matrix constitute the 62%, and these are mainly calcium phosphate and the calcium carbonate. And the organic phase of matrix of bone, which constitute 38%, and mainly which contains the osseous protein and some amount of collagen fiber, and as you know, these are the white fiber. And the matrix containing the osseous protein, which is actually known as the osteoid matrix. Osteoid matrix means the deposition of osseous proteins are there. So this is the actual composition of the bone. And here the total structure and the arrangement of skeletal connective tissue, that is the bone, have to studied under two heads. The first head may be the structure of frog's bone, and second one may be the structure of mammalian bone. The structure of mammalian bone and the structure of frog bones both are differ from each other slightly, but the basic components are same and arrangement slightly different, and the mammalian bone is slightly complicated. That's why we have studied in two different headings. So first come to the structure of frog's bone. In both cases, the bones are composed of three types of cells. In both cases, in case of mammals or in any other vertebrates, the bones actually composed of three types of cells. So these cells are osteoblast, another type of bone cell, mature bone cell, this is known as the osteocytes, and last one may be the osteoclast. The osteo means bone or osseous protein, blast means formation. So this is the bone forming or secreting cells. Osteo means bone or the osseous, cytes means cells. This is the mature bone cells. And osteoclast, osteo means bone, or the osteoclast means the damaging, this is the bone damaging cells. So three types of cells are there. The osteocyte is very important, and the structure also important, because it is the branched, it has the protoplasmic projection or the cytoplasmic projections. That's why if you look, then it looks like a spider shaped. Osteoblast, it is not it has no more cytoplasmic processes. Most probably it is elongated and rounded at the spherical structure. Osteocyte also, it is elongated and the spherical structure. Now come to the frog's bone. Probably the limb bones, these are the elongated bone. These limb bones, it may be the humerus or femur bones. So these limb bones, suppose that this is the humerus bone of frog, and such bone which is divided into two parts. So this bone, it has two parts. These are the upper end of the bones, which is known as the head, and this is also a head. The head region is known as the epiphysis. This is also known as the epiphysis, and between these epiphysis region, this middle portion is known as the shaft, and such shaft region is known as the diaphysis. This is known as the diaphysis. On the basis of the compactness of these two regions, epiphysis and the diaphysis, the diaphytic region, this is the shaft region, and which is more compact, and that's why this region also known as the compact bone. This is known as the compact bone. Compact bone, or this also known as the dense bone, and it also known as, it is solid, that's why it is also known as the solid bone, or you can say periosteal bone. It also known as periosteal bone. Because of the compactness, this shaft region or the diaphysis region of the long bone known as the compact bone, dense bone, solid bone, or periosteal bone. And the head region or the epiphysis region, which is slightly spongy, less compact, less dense, less solid, that's why this region is known as the spongy bone. This is known as the spongy bone, or it also known as the cancellous bone. Cancellous bone. It also known as cancellous bone or spongy bone. It is spongy in nature because it has the both transverse and the longitudinal transverse or trabeculi of endosteum. That's why it is the spongy in nature. And if you look inside, then you find in the shaft region there is a cavity. Shaft region, there is the cavity which is known as the marrow cavity or the bone marrow cavity. bone marrow cavity. Such bone marrow cavity is filled with the bone marrow, and such bone marrow, it is the yellow in color. That's why this is known as the yellow bone marrow. Yellow bone marrow. But at the spongy region or at the epiphytic region, this region, it has a number of trabecular structure, transverse as well as the longitudinal trabeculi. That's why it is spongy in nature and having number of blood vessels of the RBC. That's why this region is red in color, and this is known as the red bone marrow. This is known as red bone marrow. So this is the actual structure of the bone, and it is the same in case of frog and in case of mammals. If you take the section of such shaft region or the compact bone, then we find the arrangement of osteoblast, osteoclast, and the osteocytes. If you take the section, suppose that this is the TS section of frog bone, then the outermost covering, which is made up of fibrous connective tissue, and this outermost covering of fibrous connective tissue, this is known as the periosteum. Periosteum. And suppose that this is the bone marrow region or the bone marrow cavity. Here is the bone marrow cavity. Suppose that this is the bone marrow cavity. And this region, the bone marrow cavity, which is lined by the layer of unbranched cells, and this is known as the endosteum. Endosteum. And suppose that this is the bone marrow cavity filled with the bone marrow. This is the bone marrow. This is the bone marrow. Here, the endosteum cells, which actually constitute of osteoblast cell. So the cells of endosteum, this is known as the osteoblast cells. So these are the osteoblast cell. Osteoblast cells. Another layer of osteoblast cell also present below the periosteum. This is the another outer osteoblast layer. You can see this is the outer osteoblast layer. So this is the outer osteoblast layer. So this is the osteocyte cells which form a layer at the outer region. This is known as the outer osteoblast osteoblast layer or cells, and this is the inner. So this outer osteoblast cell secrete the osin protein or the matrix towards the inner side, and the inner osteoblast layer secrete the matrix or the osin towards the outer region. So obviously the secretion of osin from outer to inner and here from inner to outer, that's why obviously a pressure exerted in this region. That's why there is the need of balance. Secretion and the damaging. Secretion, depositing and the removing of the osin protein. That's why there is another type of cell which damage and which remove the osin protein, and this is known as the osteoclast cell. So osteoclast cell most probably present in the inner side or the middle region, which actually remove the high deposition of osin protein and which maintain a equilibrium pressure or maintain the equilibrium in between the depositing or the secretion and the removing of the osin protein. That's why osteoclast cells are present. Here it is very interesting thing that the osteoclast cell, those are branched cell, they are present in concentric ring-like structure. They are arranged here in concentric ring-like structure. So these are the osteoclast cell, and such osteoclast cell, they have the cytoplasmic processes. These cytoplasmic processes is known as the canaliculi. So this is the canaliculi present in the fluid field area. Suppose that this is another layer of osteocyte cells. So osteocyte cells arranged in concentric ring-like structure. So this is the another circle, concentric circle around the bone marrow cavity, and it looks like a spider shape because of the presence of branched cytoplasmic processes. It looks like the spider in shape. And suppose that this is another concentric layer of osteocyte cells. So because of presence of so many concentric layers of bone cell, the matrix of bone is divided into a number of plates like structure. So this is the concentric layer of bone cells. These bone cells are the osteocytes. Suppose that this is another concentric layer of bone cells or the osteocyte around the bone marrow, and it forms a very beautiful structure and very beautiful, and these are looks like the spider shaped. It looks like a spider shaped. These are the cytoplasmic processes. So because of presence of such concentric layer of osteocyte cell, these are the osteocyte cells. The matrix of such bone, which is divided into different layers. Suppose that this is one layer of the one plate, which is separated from the adjacent plates of the matrix by the formation of another layer. This is another layer of matrix. This is, suppose that this is another layer of matrix. It is visible. That's why I draw in a red. This is another layer of matrix. And This is another layer of matrix. Suppose that this is another layer of matrix. So it forms different layers, different plates because of the presence of concentric layer of osteocyte cells. And suppose that this is another plates of the matrix, and these plates of matrix is known as the lamella, singular lamella and plural lamellae. So these are the lamellae or the matrix plate lamellae. This is known as the bone lamellae. So because of the arrangement of the concentric ring of osteocyte cell, the matrix of bone is divided into number of plates. This is one plate, this is another plate, this is another plate, and this is another layer, this is another layer. That's why these plates or layer of the bone matrix is known as the bone lamellae. Singular is the lamella. This is the endosteum. That is the osteoblast cell. This is the periosteum, and osteomature bone cells are there. And some of the osteoclast cells, those are present scatteredly towards the inner side or the middle region to balance the deposition of the osine and removal of the osine. If you look the actual cell of the osteocyte, then you find this is the osteocyte cell. It is the elongated, rounded cell having the branched protoplasmic or the cytoplasmic projection. So this is the cytoplasmic or the protoplasmic projection which is present in the lacuna. So this is the canaliculi, the cytoplasmic processes or the protoplasmic processes of the bone. This is known as the canaliculi, and it has the rounded large nucleus, and this is the cytoplasm. Suppose that this is the cytoplasm. This is the mature osteocyte cell. Osteocyte cell having the canaliculi. And such canaliculi or the matrix of the bone surround the canaliculi and leave a fluid filled area. This is known as the lacuna. Suppose that this is the matrix and the fluid filled area around the canaliculi or the bone cell. This is known as the lacuna. So inside the lacuna, such canaliculi are present. I hope you understand the structure of the frog's bone. Then if you like, then click on my another video regarding the bone of mammals or the mammalian bones. Thank you for watching.